Most people live their entire lives just a few steps away from true fortune. Without ever realizing it, they look at their own empty pockets, at the bills piling up, and blame the economy, the government, their family, or destiny. But Waddles, one of the greatest masters of prosperity, revealed more than a century ago a truth that few have the courage to face. You are sabotaging your own fortune. This is not an accusation, it is an awakening. There's a silent force operating in your mind right now, an invisible programming that works behind the scenes of your consciousness, blocking the natural flow of abundance. That should rightfully be yours. And the most surprising thing, you installed it there yourself. Think for a moment, how many times have you seen an opportunity and immediately thought that's not for me? How many times have you felt that pang of envy when you see someone else's success, secretly believing that it would be impossible for you? How many times have you looked at an empty bank account and felt that familiar feeling of it's always been this way? These are not coincidences. It's evidence. The sabotage of fortune does not happen in grand dramatic gestures. It occurs in small automatic thoughts that you no longer even notice. In the way you breathe when it comes to money. In the way your shoulders hunch when you think of wealth. Man must form a clear and definite mental picture of what he wants, wrote Waddles. But what happens when the image you've formed about yourself is someone who always struggles with money? That you can never keep? That he was not born to be rich? Your mind does not distinguish between positive and negative orders. It simply fulfills the program you entered. And this program is more powerful than any external force. Stop for a second. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, what is the image I carry about my relationship with money? If you could see this image projected on a screen, what would it show? For most people, the answer is disturbing. The image reveals struggle, scarcity, tension, and fear. It reveals a pattern so familiar it has become invisible, like the air we breathe without noticing. Waddles discovered that fortune is not an accident or a privilege. It's a science that operates according to laws as precise as gravity. And the first law is this: your external fortune will always match your internal programming. Think of it like a thermostat. If you set your financial thermostat to survival, then even if you make more money, your temperature will always return to just enough. This is why so many people win the lottery and lose everything within a few years. Or they receive an inheritance and end up where they started. The real sabotage is not in the circumstances. It's in the internal schedule. And the extraordinary news is that this schedule can be rewritten anytime for you. From the moment you were born, you were slowly immersed in a bath of scarcity. Money doesn't grow on trees. Rich is always dishonest. Money is dirty. We're not the kind of people who have a lot, seemingly innocent phrases, repeated like mantras, forming the invisible basis of your relationship with prosperity. Scarcity is not just an economic condition. It is a belief, a lens through which you were trained to see the world, and this belief distorts everything you see, touch, and experience related to money. Waddles understood a truth that fundamentally contradicts this programming. The universe is a thinking substance of which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the interstices of the cosmos. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imagined by the thought. In other words, abundance is the natural state of the universe. Scarcity is an illusion created by the human mind. Look around you right now. Observe the infinity of atoms, molecules, cells, stars, and galaxies. Is there scarcity in nature? A tree produces thousands of seeds when it only needs one to reproduce. The sun pours enough energy onto the earth in 1 minute to power all of humanity for a year. The human body itself produces billions of new cells every day. Abundance is not a fantasy. It is the fundamental reality of the cosmos. So where does this persistent feeling of not enough come from? From programming installed not out of malice, but out of ignorance. People you love and respect have transmitted the same mental virus to you that infected them. Think about the decisions you made today, this week, this month. How many were based on the thought, I can create more? And how many think, I need to save because there won't be any more? This scarcity programming manifests itself in subtle behaviors. Keep broken items because they might be useful one day. Hesitate about investing in yourself. Feeling guilty when spending on things that bring pleasure. Focus on low prices rather than high value. And the result, a self-fulfilling prophecy. The more you see scarcity, the more scarcity appears in your life. As Wattles wrote, the human mind has the power of adding something to the original substance, creating thoughts and acting on the thinking substance. It can cause the creation of the thing it thinks. If you think there is not enough, the universe will respond as you wish. But there is a way out of this maze of limitation. The first step is to recognize that the myth of scarcity is exactly that, a myth. A story that they told you and that you now tell yourself. A story so familiar that it confused with reality. The truth is that every penny that ever existed or will exist in the world passes from hand to hand. Money is not destroyed, it circulates. And the rules of this circulation are not accidental. They are accurate, understandable, applicable. When you look at a prosperous person and think she was lucky, you are reinforcing the myth. Luck is just the name we give to success whose cause we don't understand. There's a secret that the true masters of wealth know, and that is rarely taught in business schools. A principle so counterintuitive that the rational mind tends to reject it out of hand. Wattles called it anticipatory gratitude, and it's possibly the most powerful key to unlocking the abundance that's blocked in your life. Anticipatory gratitude is the ability to feel genuine gratitude for something before you even receive it, not as a mind trick or superficial visualization technique, but as an authentic, visceral emotion felt throughout the body. Many people who rightly order their lives in all other respects remain in poverty through lack of gratitude, wrote Wattles. And he wasn't talking about gratitude for what we already have. That's easy. He was referring to the rarely developed ability to be grateful for what is yet to come. Think of it as a way to reorganize the vibrational field surrounding your life. When you feel gratitude in advance, you are essentially declaring to the universe, I am already living in the reality where I receive this. Most people do exactly the opposite. They say, I will be grateful when I receive. I will believe it when I see it. I will feel abundance when my bank account shows the numbers. This approach puts the cart before the horse. Imagine a man named Miguel. For years, Miguel worked hard, saved every penny, and constantly worried about his financial future. Even as his salary increased, so did his anxiety. He was stuck in the pattern of it's never enough. One day, Miguel encountered Wattles' teachings. He learned about anticipatory gratitude and decided to try something radically different. Every morning, Miguel began to dedicate 10 minutes to feeling deep gratitude for opportunities that had not yet arrived, for abundance that was not yet visible, for a financial life that existed only in his imagination. At first it seemed silly. His apartment remained the same. Your salary has not changed. His debts remained. But something subtle began to happen inside him. The constant tension in his solar plexus, that tight feeling that always accompanied thoughts about money, began to relax. With this inner relaxation came clarity. Miguel began to notice opportunities that had always been there, but that his anxiety prevented him from seeing. He made different little decisions. He talked to people he would normally avoid. He asked questions that would have been frightening before. Within 6 months, Miguel's life was no longer recognizable. Not because you won the lottery or received an unexpected inheritance, but because your reorganized vibrational field attracted different circumstances, different people, different ideas. Anticipatory gratitude is not magic. It is quantum physics applied to the financial field. It is the understanding that your current experience is always a result of your predominant vibrational state. When you constantly dwell in the state of I don't have enough, the universe can only deliver more of the same experience, not by punishment, but by resonance. Like a tuning fork that vibrates at the same frequency as another tuning fork close to it. The question then becomes, can you feel true gratitude for a fortune that has not yet manifested itself physically? Can you inhabit this state not for a few minutes during a meditation, but as your predominant vibration throughout the day? What do you feel when you think about money? Not what you think about money, what you feel. Is there a subtle tension in your stomach? A tightness in the throat? A feeling of weight on your shoulders? Or do you experience an opening, an expansion, a flow? This sensation, this energetic vibration is the true determinant of your financial reality. Wattles understood, long before quantum physics confirmed it, that everything in the universe is, in essence, energy vibrating at different frequencies. And money is no exception. Thought is the only force that can produce tangible wealth from formless substance, he wrote. But thought, in its purest form, is energy, vibration, frequency. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt the mood? Have you ever met someone and instantly felt trust or discomfort with no words exchanged? This is your natural ability to perceive vibrational fields. And all human beings have a financial vibrational field, an energetic signature related specifically to money. Modern science has finally begun to understand what the ancient masters always knew. Your thoughts and emotions emit measurable frequencies that affect the world around you. The HeartMath Institute has scientifically demonstrated that the electromagnetic field of the human heart can be detected from several meters away. When you constantly dwell in emotional states of worry, scarcity, and fear related to money, you are literally emitting a frequency that repels financial opportunities. Not as cosmic punishment, but as natural law. Think of a radio. If you want to listen to a station that broadcasts on the 98.7 FM frequency, you need to tune exactly to this frequency. No matter how much you want or beg to listen to this station, if your radio is tuned to 103.5 FM, it simply won't work. Likewise, if you want to experience abundance and prosperity, you need to tune into the vibrational frequency corresponding to these states. This is not a vague spiritual metaphor. It is a literal description of how the universe works. But how to tune into this higher frequency? How to consciously change your financial vibrational field? The first step is to recognize that your emotions are not passive reactions to the external world. They are active choices, even when they seem automatic. The good news is that you can stop negative emotional patterns related to money at any time through awareness. Try this exercise right now. Close your eyes for 5 seconds and vividly remember a time when you felt truly prosperous. Maybe it was when you received an unexpected payment, or when you realized you had more than enough for your needs, or by feeling deep gratitude for your ability to make money. Did you notice the instantaneous change in your energy field? This is not imagination. It is a measurable change in your vibrational frequency. Wallace taught that we should practice this type of conscious tuning several times a day, until the frequency of prosperity becomes our natural state, not just during meditations or visualizations, but during everyday activities. As you pay bills, you can emit gratitude for the flow of abundance that enables this exchange. When you receive money, you can consciously feel like a conductor of the universal flow, not its endpoint. Even when you see prosperous people, you can choose to resonate with their frequency instead of feeling jealous or resentful. Gradually, this constant practice recalibrates your internal financial thermostat, and as a natural consequence, your external reality begins to reorganize itself to match the new vibration. It is important to note that this is not a purely mental process. The entire body must be involved. The vibration of prosperity must be felt in the heart, in the solar plexus, in the cells. It should become part of your energetic signature. One of the most subtle and powerful saboteurs of your fortune operates silently, every day, perhaps hundreds of times, without you even realizing it. This saboteur has a name: comparison. The moment you start comparing your financial journey to others, you activate a program of self-sabotage that is almost impossible to overcome, wrote Wallace D. Wattles. And never before in human history has comparison been so constant, so invasive, and so harmful as it is in the current era. Every time you swipe the screen, every time you open a social network, every time you talk to friends about your material achievements, you are feeding the comparison monster. But why exactly does comparison sabotage your fortune? Because it violates a fundamental law of prosperity. Each human being has a unique path to wealth, based on their unique composition of talents, passions, experiences, and purpose. When you try to replicate someone else's path, you are essentially trying to use a map for a different city. Think about how nature operates. A rose cannot be compared to an oak. A river doesn't try to flow like the ocean. Each expression of nature follows its own intrinsic design. And when each element acts in accordance with its essential nature, the entire ecosystem thrives. Likewise, your prosperity will not come from imitating others or following a generic plan. It will come from discovering and honoring your unique path of power, the magical intersection between what you love to do, what you do extraordinarily well, and what the world values and needs. Comparison obscures this clarity. Every time you think I should be where that person is, you take one step away from your true path to power. Every time you envy someone's car, house, or lifestyle, you are implicitly rejecting their unique design. This rejection emits a frequency of dissonance in your energy field, and this dissonance repels opportunities that are perfectly aligned with who you really are. Consider for a moment, what if your version of prosperity looked nothing like the images you see in magazines or on social media? What if your path to abundance involved something so unique that no one has ever written a book about it? Wallace D. Wattles understood that true prosperity is always personalized. There is no need for competition for opportunities, he wrote, for there is plenty for all. The original supply of formless substance is unlimited. An original man was limited only by the amount he could grasp and utilize. In other words, there's infinite abundance available to you, but only through the unique channel that corresponds to your essential nature. When you try to access it through someone else's channel, you only encounter blockage and frustration. Here's an eye-opening exercise for just one day. Notice how often your thinking drifts toward comparison. How many times do you think I should have what they have or I should be where they are? The frequency will probably surprise you. Now, imagine channeling all that mental energy, all that attention and focus into discovering and expressing your unique nature. To find the intersection between your innate gifts and the needs of the world. To create value in ways only you can. True liberation occurs when you stop coveting others' paths and begin courageously exploring your own. When do you stop asking yourself, why don't I have what they have? And begins to ask what unique expression of value can only I offer? This shift in perspective instantly releases creative energy that was previously trapped in the cycle of comparison and envy. This energy, when directed towards its authentic expression, literally becomes a magnetic force for prosperity. There's a crucial difference between action and right action, a distinction that most people never understand, and that Wallace D. Wattles considered fundamental to the manifestation of true wealth. There's a science of getting rich, and it is an exact science, like algebra or arithmetic. There are certain laws which govern the process of acquiring wealth, and once these laws are learned and obeyed by any man, he will become rich with mathematical certainty. Most people have been conditioned to believe in the work hard philosophy. The harder you work, the more hours you invest, the more you burn out. Supposedly, the greater your reward. This is perhaps the biggest myth about wealth creation. The universe does not respond to hard work, it responds to the right action. Right action has four distinct qualities that completely separate it from the mere busy work that consumes most lives. First, the right action is always efficient, does not waste energy. Don't get distracted by activities that don't generate real value. It is focused, precise, and strategic. Compare this to the person who works frantically on dozens of different projects, always busy, always exhausted, but rarely making significant progress in any direction. Second, the right action is always effective, generates concrete results that move you measurably and consistently toward your vision. Don't confuse movement with progress. Many people keep moving constantly, but in circles. Third, right action is always inspired. It arises not from fear, obligation, or comparison, but from an inner drive of creativity and purpose. When you are engaged in inspired action, you often experience a state of flow, where time seems to disappear and you effortlessly access extraordinary levels of performance. Fourth, the right action is always aligned with universal laws, does not violate principles such as integrity, reciprocity, and genuine service. Creates real value for other people, not just yourself. As Wattles wrote, never forget for a moment that thinking substance is in everything, communicating with everything, and can influence everything. This understanding completely transforms your approach to daily activity. Instead of asking, how can I work more? You start asking, what is the most aligned action I can take right now? Think of a rowing boat. Paddling harder against the current is a form of action. Understanding the tide patterns and strategically positioning your boat to flow with it is the right move. Both require energy, but one depletes while the other amplifies. The same goes for wealth creation. You can exhaust yourself trying to push through constant resistance, or you can align yourself with the natural flow of abundance and let it carry you. This does not mean that the right action will always seem easy. Sometimes it will require extraordinary courage. Sometimes it will mean abandoning the known for the unknown. Sometimes it will involve confronting deeply rooted fears. But even in these challenging moments, the right action will have a distinctive quality of rightness, an internal sense that, despite the discomfort, you are moving in the right direction, like a compass that always points north, no matter how turbulent the storm. How do you identify the right action for your unique journey? Through a combination of internal clarity and external feedback. Internally, the right action often produces a feeling of expansion in your chest and solar plexus, even when challenging. In contrast, incorrect action often creates a feeling of contraction and tension. Externally, the right action tends to open unexpected doors. Synchronistic opportunities appear. The right people cross your path at the right time. There's a flow that starts to develop when you are on the right path. At the core of all financial sabotage is a fundamental truth that few have the courage to face. Your current financial identity is simply a story that you have accepted and now live as reality. And what was created by the mind can be transformed by the mind. Wallace D. Wattles called this thinking a certain way, the ability to consciously replace your current financial self-image with a new one. Not as self-deception or fantasy, but as a deliberate act of conscious evolution. A man develops according to the image he maintains of himself, he wrote. If you continue to see yourself as poor, you will remain poor. If you begin to see yourself as prosperous, you will become prosperous. This is not a superficial psychological trick. It is a reconnection with your true limitless nature. It's the removal of a mask that you mistook for your face. Financial identity transformation happens on 3 levels: mental, emotional, and cellular. Mentally, you must identify and question each limiting belief about money that you have adopted. Emotionally, you must reconnect with states of natural abundance. And at the cellular level, it must literally reprogram your physiological response to the concept of wealth. Imagine yourself as a child again, before any conditioning about money was installed. This is its original nature. No limitations, no blockages, no scarcity programs. Financial identity transformation is simply a return to this natural state. When you embark on this journey of transformation, you are not trying to become something you are not. It is removing everything that is not truly you. We have reached the moment of truth. Everything you have read thus far will remain just intellectual knowledge, interesting, perhaps inspiring, but ultimately powerless unless you make a conscious decision now. Wallace D. Wattles has repeatedly emphasized that knowledge without application is useless. It is not enough to know these laws, he wrote. You must use knowledge. True fortune is not waiting at some distant point in the future. It is waiting for your permission to manifest now. It is waiting for you to remove the invisible blocks that you have created yourself. It is waiting for you to recognize the fundamental truth. You have a divine right to prosperity in all areas of your life. The choice is yours, and it has always been yours. You may continue to live the same financial story you have been living up until now, a story of limitation, struggle, and never enough. Or you can, with an act of courage and clarity, begin to live a new story. Imagine yourself a year from now, having consistently applied the principles you learned, having practiced anticipatory gratitude daily, having raised your vibrational frequency to match the prosperity you wish to experience, having freed yourself from the trap of comparison, having taken inspired and aligned action day after day, Who would you be? What would your relationship with money be like? How would you feel when you woke up in the morning and checked your finances? This future is not a fantasy. It is a real possibility that is available to you right now. But it requires a decision that no one can make for you. Decide now that you will no longer live in self-imposed limitations. Decide that the sabotage of your fortune ends today. Decide that from this moment on, you will live in alignment with the laws of true prosperity. This decision is not about external circumstances. It's not about making more money immediately or eliminating debt instantly. It's a much deeper and more powerful shift. It's a decision about who you choose to be in relation to abundance. As Waddles wrote, there is nothing wrong with wanting to get rich. The desire for wealth is simply the capacity for life seeking fuller expression. Your prosperity is not just for you. It is your contribution to the world. It's how you will express your unique gifts, offer your maximum value, and positively impact countless lives. The true fortune you seek is already within you, waiting to be released, and the only time to begin this liberation process is now. The choice is yours.